Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the second episode of the Stack Live podcast. My name is Rich, and I'm a Las Vegas promoter with the Hakkasan and Tao Group. So, if you or anyone that you know are coming to Las Vegas, text the number on the screen 281-729-6500. Let me be your guide. I got you. Guest list, bottle service, entry in the clubs, you name it, we can make it happen. And for those of you that don't know what Stack Live is, I'm going to tell you now. Stack Live is a platform that's being built for service industry talent to promote themselves and get more clients. And when I say service industry, I'm not talking about Applebee's, Chili's, Outback Steakhouse. Those are all great places, but I'm looking at the Twin Peaks, Hooters, sports bars, bikini coffee shops, any restaurant, anything where you could end up in a bikini or less at work. My app's going to be for you. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're hoping to drop that early in 2022. It's also for guys. So if you're a male bartender or a male dancer, we're definitely going to make sure that we include you so that you can promote your social media in a free space and get more clients. So while I've been working on that, I have had the pleasure of traveling literally all across the country. And most recently, I was in Dallas, Texas, and I got to meet some amazing people um, and actually met a young lady who's pretty damn great. She is an entrepreneur, she's a hustler. I believe she's currently a manager at her restaurant slash sports bar. And I'm really excited to have her here with us today. Her name is Lana. She is Lana of KOSB, aka Dream Girl Desi on OnlyFans. And trust the OnlyFans is great. Get the OnlyFans. She'll tell you more about it now. Here she is, Miss Lana.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. It blows my mind that this is where we are. Just a few weeks ago, we met the planning, and now you're here on the
I
second
know.
episode of the podcast. I'm really excited.
Yes, me too.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. If you please just, introduce yourself, talk to the audience, talk to the fans, let them know about you and what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. So my name is Lana. It's short for Alana, so I just dropped that A off at the beginning. So Alana or Lana, whichever you prefer. I'm 22. I'm born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and I'm currently the head bartender and head shift lead at the Addison location of Knockout Sports Bar. For those of you that don't know what Knockouts is, I call it like a Hooters on crack because our uniforms are like much less than what you're going to see at Hooters or Twin Peaks or something like that, but similar kind of concept. I've been in the industry for 5.5 years, and I found Knockouts about 3 years ago when it was just a little baby company. So when I started with the company, there were only 2 locations, and now we've got 5, and I'm pretty sure we're projected to open another 5 in 2022. So really exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. So, you think you're going to get into management or like serious management, put clothes on and walk around the restaurant, or are you
Absolutely
gonna
not.
get
I've
the
been
nine to
asked
five?
before if that's been like an interest of mine. I've been offered management positions at one of the new locations. We're actually going to have another new location. I don't want to reveal like too much about it, but it's also going to double as a venue. So I was asked if I wanted to manage at that location as well, but honestly, I'm still really young and I love bartending. I love the way that I'm like able to interact with my guests. And I have a lot of fun at work. So honestly, management hasn't really been something that's been like in the forefront of my brain.
Yeah, because let me tell you, there's some restaurants that really encourage their talent to go into management, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw out Twin Peaks. I'm originally from Houston, so I would always go to Twin Peaks Curvy, and it just seemed like every week they would take somebody off the floor and put them into a management role, and I'm just like, well, damn,
Right. Like we lost another good one, damn
yeah,
it.
lost another good one. What's going on? But of course, we have to understand that if it's the best move for the talent, that's just something they got to do.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of times restaurants will see someone that is just like a kick-ass bartender or really just like a great personality, great ethic, and they're like, we can't lose them. So
Yeah.
they always would rather, one thing about knockouts is with bartenders, they very, very rarely hire a bartender from the outside. They would rather
Mhm.
promote within the company and promote a server to a bartending position, which I really do respect and appreciate because that's how I learned to bartend.
Mhm.
So I understand both aspects of it, for sure.
Do you feel like it's probably a stupid question because I already know the answer. So as a server, your money's probably really good based on the uniforms that you guys are wearing. Um, but what kind of increase do you see when you go from a server to a bartender?
Well, I really like that you asked that question because a lot of people come into KOSB and they're like, they have bartending experience or they have a certain amount of years of server experience and they're like, I'm only interested in being a bartender. But honestly, that can like sort of block your blessings in an aspect
Mm,
because there's pros and cons to each. If you know how to hustle and you know how to work, you can make just as much, if not more money on the floor than you can behind the bar. Because when you're on the floor, your money is your money. Everything that you make is going to go. I mean, obviously, you tip out, you're going to tip out
mm,
your bar back and your bartenders, but everything that you make is going to go directly in your pocket. And then also, when you're a server, you kind of see more like, for example, the bartenders that I work with, none of us are lazy. We all hustle, we all work, we all come in there to work.
yeah.
But if you're a server and you know that you have a coworker that's like a little lazy, maybe she doesn't want to take as many tables, you can get out there and shark her tables. And they
Oh.
actually encourage that at knockouts. They'll say, if you see a table that hasn't been greeted and it's not in your section, go get it. If you want to make your money, if you're here to work, then go work.
Wow.
So yeah, and I agree. Honestly, I kind of have the same mental because especially here in Texas, the hourly rate that well, not me because I have my shift lead position as well, but the hourly rate that servers and bartenders are getting paid is 213. So if you're standing there, if you're not working, you're not making anything. So I really have never understood girls that come to work and don't want to take tables.
Oh my gosh. Stop. You just listen. I walk into places sometimes, and I honestly I don't know if it's a race thing. I'm really hoping it's not. But there will be 8 girls at the host stand. They will be texting. They will be taking selfies. They will be X, Y, and Zing everything except either greeting me or trying to get my money. Like I don't understand it. You come to work and you don't want to work. Um, what?
I've
It
never
makes no sense.
understood, like, that shit literally boggles my brain, and I know I'm not gonna name names, but I know that we had a conversation about another place that, kinda had a standoffish, more so personality, and my whole thing
Mhm,
is, like, I have the same schedule every day when I go into work. I go to work, we do the pre-shift. A lot of times, if, like, the manager isn't available, then, like, I'll run the pre-shift. I go
mhm,
behind the bar, assign the drawers, all that shit. Then I'm going to be on my phone for about 10 minutes promoting. I'll take my Instagram pictures. If I have time, if it's a slower shift change, maybe I'll make a TikTok, something like that. But I'm going to be on my phone for those 10 minutes
mhm.
working, even though it just seems like I'm on my phone, but I'm working. After that, my phone goes away. Like I'm not there to fucking text and scroll through Instagram. Like what?
Wow, wow. So you're just like taking everything that's in my head whenever I'm creating this platform, um, and like
Just
confirming it.
spewing it
Just
out.
confirm proof of concept right here.
There
Yeah.
we go.
So what I want to do is with this platform is really create something where you can just come to work, push a button, sends out the notifications. Hey, I'm here. Come see me. Blah blah blah. So that you're not wasting a bunch of time on the phone, going back and forth with conversations about tots or whatever the menu, just random stuff. People just want to waste your time. Um, like fans, it's us. It's us. Um, let's not waste the time. They're making 213 an hour. Um, Let's get in there, have some fun, tip them, and be on our way. And something I noticed about y'all's establishment is it seems like you're encouraged to keep that party going from the moment they sit down. Actually, from the moment they walk in the door at KOSB, I noticed it was kind of like a, hey, all right, let's party. Girls sitting, standing by the tables, spending a little bit of extra time. And now I understand why, because you guys are allowed to, jump on tables that are unattended to. But talk to me about, like the freedoms that y'all have there that may not be at other establishments.
One thing that I've always really personally loved about just the company in general and working for Knockouts is, well, I've never applied to be a Hooters girl or really had interest in being a Hooters girl, but I'm not gonna like name the locations obviously, but I've applied at two different Twin Peaks and not gotten hired. One of them didn't even ask me to try on the uniform, which they do with like damn near everybody. So I've just always been appreciative of being in a space where I feel like my individuality isn't only accepted but celebrated. We have a rainbow, a plethora of just different images at Knockouts.
Hmm.
We have females with tattoos, we have every possible race, we have short girls, tall girls, unconventional haircuts, unconventional hair colors. So I feel like that is something that's really just exciting within itself because I don't know anyone that wants to look at the same person over and over and over again, despite
Yeah,
no matter how they're looking, even if she's beautiful. I don't want to see 20 of the same face. I want to see, little mix up.
yeah,
But I think that it's cool that we pride ourselves in like not being the conventional Hooters or Twin Peaks. You're gonna hear a lot more different genres than just classic rock and country music all morning. Our DJs are actually, I love our DJs so much. We have our resident DJ. Shout out Clay. You're awesome. He's literally amazing.
Clay Mercy.
Yes, Clay Mercy, the best DJ Noisy. Like he literally keeps the party going the moment that he starts his set and all the way through. And then we've also got a few others that like rotate in and out that are really, really amazing as well. But one thing that I think really sets knockouts apart from anywhere else is that we're actually able to drink on the shift with our guests and with our tables. Um, Now, of course, it is like moderated. Like we can't
Hmm.
just like it's not like bottle service. Like we can't like go to the table and just like pouring
Sit
shots
down.
in our
Yeah.
mouth. Like it's not like that.
Hmm.
But if a guest wants to buy us a shot, doesn't matter what shot it is. It doesn't matter if the girl wants to take a $7 green tea shot or if she wants to take a $12 Casamigo shot. It's
Hmm.
$20, but you're able to take it with your table. So
Right.
that is something that is, helpful to the company. And then, of course, like for us, because it's obviously fun to be able to like create that space where you're like cheersing with your table and stuff. It's super
Yeah.
cool.
So, as a manager, are you in charge of, kind of, let's say I wanted to buy 10 shots for my server. I'm going to be there all day, and for her entire shift, I'm looking at 10 shots, whatever the case may be. Is it your responsibility to kind of moderate or monitor, excuse me, how
So
much?
so thankfully, that doesn't really fall under my job category. So I'm considered middle management.
Okay.
So there's servers, bartenders, shift leads, which is like middle management, and then there's upper management, which is going to
Mhm.
be um, the like hourly managers, and then the assistant general manager, and then
Mhm.
there's going to be like the top, which is the general manager, and then
Okay.
everything above that is going to be like corporate positions. So luckily that's not something that like I really have to deal with, but typically they're going to limit us to 3 shots a shift, which is fair if you ask me. I mean, first of all, this is some of the
Yeah.
easiest, most fun money that we're gonna make in our life. And then
Hmm.
also 3 shot, if you space that out on the shift, like let's say, you're gonna take one when you get there, 5:30, kind of get it going, then maybe take one halfway through the shift, like 9 o'clock, and then take another one like when the party's happening at 11. Like that's all I need personally. So
That's prime time, huh?
right. If you space it out like that, you get the math down, like have a good little shift.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, it sounds like y'all's draw is really, you know, just a really good time from beginning to end, and y'all work as a team um, to make that happen. And I think that's important because in a lot of these places, it's nothing but competition, competition, um, and there's no true support system in place. From what I've noticed, there's not a lot of it. Now, I have visited some places that are great, and I have visited some places that should be closed, just based on morale and that sort of thing. But it sounds like y'all, a little family unit going on there. That's
We
pretty
really
cool.
are. We really are, especially honestly behind the bar and on the floor. And I've been a shift lead for almost a year now. I got offered this position in January, and one thing that I noticed about like the bartenders that I really wanted to help implement with the servers too is just the way that we have each other's backs, the way, because behind the bar we work as a team, so we all pool our tips, all the bartenders. So there's
Mm-hmm.
on like slower nights, like today's Wednesday. When I go to work today, there will be 3 of us, but on the weekends, there's always going to be 4 back there. So I always try to have that in mind. Like I'm making money for my team right now. So I'm gonna make money not just for me, but I'm gonna have, my homegirl in mind that I know she gotta, buy whatever for her kid for Christmas. My other
Yeah,
homegirl in mind that's got, whatever health issues going on. I try to think not just tunnel vision and think for myself, but think for everyone around me because I know that they're doing the same thing for me.
yeah,
And whenever I got into this position as a shift lead, I was like, I love these bartenders so much. And the last thing that I wanted was there to be division between the bartenders and the servers, because that can have the tendency to happen at a lot of places like this, because there can be bartenders that feel like they have a chip on their shoulder just because they know how to bartend, or this, that, and the third. So
hmm,
I'm really glad that we do have, the relationship and the family aspect and the sisterhood that we do.
hmm.
I will say the only things that I feel like do get competitive is sometimes we get pretty competitive between the other locations.
Okay.
But I feel like that's kind of a healthy competition. If I pull up on like we can like see the sales of our stores and all the other locations like side by side. So I feel
Uh,
like that doesn't really hurt anybody. And all that's doing is making us more uh fired up to sell. So
Tell
I feel
more.
like right, exactly. Sell,
Yeah.
bring in them bucks,
That's what it's all about. All right,
right?
KOSB, Addison, right? Because there's about to be a lot of y'all.
Right. So we have KOSB Dallas, which is kind of in like central Dallas area. We've got KOSB Addison, and Addison is like just basically a suburb of North Dallas, but it's considered Addison. We've got KOSB Mesquite, and then we just opened KOSB Louisville. And then coming soon, we will have KOSB Grapevine and KOSB Arlington. And then I think
Whew.
after we get those 6, we're going to start expanding to Houston.
Uh, what what's the draw for talent to either leave or to get started with KOSB as their first job in the industry?
Well, okay, so one thing that I think is cool about knockouts that Peaks doesn't have, Hooters doesn't have. So Hooters, like, I don't know where the owl came from or whatever, but like, okay, cool. It's a fucking owl, whatever. Peaks is the plaid, woohoo, Twin Peaks, mountains, whatever. That's their
Mhm,
brand. That's great. Obviously, it's working for them. Woohoo. Knockout's brand is entirely centered around UFC, boxing, fights, etc. So
mhm,
that's where our really big pull comes from. There is
mhm,
not a single UFC fight, boxing match. If it involves people fighting each other, we're showing it.
Okay.
A lot of times we're able to show really big name fights for free. This past Jake Paul fight, that was so fucking embarrassing. That set us back about 200 years. I was pissed watching that shit. That past fight, we were able to show for free. We have
Okay.
at least 70 TVs in the place. It's on every single screen. And then not only do we do that, but of course we're showing, Cowboys every Sunday. Of course, we've got basketball games playing. We play the hockey games too. We've always got the Stars playing.
Okay.
So within that being our brand, um, and then we're also about to have like some more changes to our appearance and uniform standard that makes us even more
Oh.
like
Oh.
UFC,
Oh. Okay.
like ring girl kind of vibe. You know
Nice.
what I'm saying? So I think that just like being the brand is a lot cooler and more like sports oriented than
Hmm.
just like an owl, you
Okay.
know?
I feel you. And I'm not bashing any companies, but a lot of places are starting to dub themselves as family restaurants. Um, cancel culture and all this stuff. Um, so I'm really hoping that a brand will emerge that is like, yo, we showing booty, we're having fun, we're following the rules, and everybody's making money. So if KOSB is that brand, I am all for it.
Yes, and I totally agree. Like, I remember because I don't know if I've told you this before, but I opened when I was 18, my first restaurant job, my first job ever in this industry. I opened the Ojos Locos that's in Arlington over by the Dallas Cowboys Stadium and Texas Live and all that good stuff.
Mm,
And I remember like there being point in time there where they were trying to like channel into a more like I don't know if they're still currently doing that, but they were trying to channel into more like a family oriented kind of vibe. And I would see more families working there, but I rarely see families at my job now. I think the only time that I see like kids or maybe someone that's under 18. It's like when
mm,
I get there for the shift change or something, and maybe they're there like from the morning or whatever. They're with their dad or like their uncle or something.
yeah,
But we stopped letting in minors at 8 o'clock or something like that,
nice.
around there. But yeah, I rarely see families at my job.
Well, I hope it stays that way.
Me too.
All right. So, in our talks, I need to skip down on this. You talked about working at a strip club. Now, I have to say, you're thinking about coming to Vegas and trying it out, um, seeing how successful you can be. And one, I believe you could make it just physically right now. I think you're there. Like, boom, you got it. I don't know if it's genetics or whatever. I saw a video of you working out, doing squats. It's working. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Okay. Um, you're interested in being a cocktail waitress out here, right?
Right.
And I will say, if you were interested in being a dancer out here, I definitely believe that you would be successful. I don't know if you had bad experiences in the strip club in Dallas, or if you're just, that's just not your thing anymore. But just based on your personality, your body, um, your it factor, you know what I mean? Like you attract the money, you attract the people, you have great conversation skills. I think you could definitely succeed out here. I just wanted to plant that
Thank
nugget right there,
you. I've
because I
thought
know
about it.
a lot of people don't understand that the KOSBs and restaurants and all that. It's a no touching kind of place. And so with the strip clubs, of course, you're gonna pay more to get in. You're going to pay more to drink, for food, and all that. But you also get that physical interaction at some places. So I don't know if that's something you were thinking about, but I know a spot. I know a spot. It's pretty good. So just let me know if you'd ever.
I'd
Uh,
be open to hearing about it. The only times that I've like thought about it and like shot myself down sort of is just because Texas is the strip club in Texas is so different than I've been to the strip club like Ben as like a patron in Las Vegas. in Houston, in New York, in a lot of different places. And the strip club in Texas is like a whole different beast. And
Yep.
I feel like whenever you're doing something like that, you just kind of have to find your niche and find your environment, because I personally don't know like how successful I could be in like Houston or like Atlanta, like a scene like that, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
I just don't really think I would do as well as I know I can do, you know?
Hmm.
But I try to never like close my brain off to any kind of ideas. Because if you would have asked me in, I don't know, in 2019, if I was thinking about, doing OnlyFans, I would have told you hell no.
Yeah.
So it's, people have different seasons, people change, thought processes change. So I never close myself off to anything. You can't say you don't like something that you haven't tried. And
Yeah.
whenever I was working in the strip club, I danced like twice, but I was waitressing. So I
Mm.
haven't really had that experience fully. So I feel like I couldn't, have an opinion on it until I tried it.
Yeah. No, I understand. But yeah, try it out. Let's move on. So we've talked about KOSB, we've talked about the strip club, um, and I really, really want to get into this online platform that people are raving about called OnlyFans. You just mentioned it a few years ago. You would have never touched OnlyFans. However, now you are well over 1,000 subscribers. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm top 3.9%.
Top 3.9%, over 1,000 subscribers on a paid plan. And, we're not going to count your money here, but do you ever think, damn, I should have started this 2 years ago?
So I made an OnlyFans account in like 2018.
Mm,
And my motive at that time was to get my own place. I was just trying to like I needed money at that moment. So I was just trying to build something for myself. Because I didn't have a lot then. I was 18 or 19. But I didn't really know how to do it, if that makes sense. I didn't
yeah.
really, and just like really like the features of the website. I didn't really understand like how I could use everything to my benefit. Um, so I just kind of like fucked it off honestly and wasn't really on my shit about it. But it was because I didn't really know what to do. I didn't have the capacity and the understanding of all the tools and how I could make it benefit me. Um, but whenever it got like booming in the pandemic, I wanted to do it then, but I kind of the same thing. I was like, well, it's so like booming right now. And I still probably could have done it then and could have made it successful for myself. But I
Mhm.
felt like it was so overpopulated and over capacitated. And I was blessed enough to have some kind of income during the pandemic. And I knew that there were a lot of sex workers, a lot of dancers, a lot of people that literally didn't, and OnlyFans was their option. That's why it was
Mhm.
like so disgusting to me to see like celebrities like Bella Thorne and Bad Baby and shit like try to capitalize off this platform that they never have needed to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to save that space for the people that really needed it, to feed their families and feed themselves and just create, an income for themselves. Um, but I'm glad I started when I did. I think everything happens for a reason. I think I was meant to kind of have those times when I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Um, I think it just kind of fell into place perfectly, and I'm really blessed, and I'm really pleased with the way everything kind of worked itself out.
Yes, and we as fans are pleased as well. Trust me. Again, fans, check her out, Dream Girl Desi on OnlyFans, top 3.9%. But you're saying that there wasn't at just a moment where you just woke up and boom, all right, friend, we're doing this. Grab the camera.
I think I, there wasn't really like a green light in my brain. Um, I've always kind of, I mean, growing up, I was a pretty awkward kid. I mean, I'm 5'10". I've been this tall since I was 12. I'm really lean, which I love that for me. But I've always been kind of like growing up, I felt really like string bean, Jolly Green Giant, Gumby, kind of like all those things.
Mm,
So I really didn't feel like secure in myself and the way that I looked until maybe like a couple years ago. So I think maybe that's something that kind of like kept me away from it. And then also just kind of dealing with like personal stuff. I dealt with a lot of mental health battles in the past like 2, 3 years. So I just kind of really didn't have like my head screwed on as straight as I wanted it to be. But after honestly, after this year, after I got my breast augmentation and I started really going hard, like just working on my mental, just like every day I'm going to wake up and read something or journal for 10 minutes and just devote this time to myself because you have to do stuff like that working in this industry. You have to take the time to pour back into yourself, whether it's with something creative or something physical. I don't like working out. Let me just disclaimer, it does not feel good, but I'm
mm,
always glad that I did afterwards because I feel like I did something for me. So once I was able to kind of like just place those habits into myself
mm,
and kind of establish that routine, I was like, I feel like I'm ready to take on another challenge, another project. And I love OnlyFans. For me, it's like I have a theater background. That's what I went to college for. I went to
okay.
school at the University of Northern Colorado, and I majored in theater with the acting emphasis. So that's what I love to do. I love to perform. I love to
Mm,
put on a show. I love to make people laugh. I love to make people feel good about themselves if they're having a shitty day. Like just a reminder, like, oh hey, I'm here for you. And that's kind of a lot of what I do on OnlyFans. I struggle a lot, honestly, with people stealing and trying to resell my content, um,
yeah.
especially on Reddit. But I get questions all the time if people are like, oh, does that bother you? And honestly, it really doesn't because they can resell my photos all day, but they don't have like what's in here, if that makes sense.
They're
Um,
always waiting on you to create in order to make their money. I totally get it. And we're not encouraging that you rip her content and sell it on Reddit. That is
yeah,
not what we're
don't do
doing
that
here.
shit. I will
But
still come for you regardless and embarrass you publicly.
5'10" monster, telling you. I seen her in person, y'all. He'll get you. You touched a little bit on mental health, and I know I've seen a lot of people get burnt out really early. Not even being in a strip club, just being at a Twin Peaks or a restaurant, sports bar, bikini coffee shop type place. Um, what do you think are some of like the biggest factors for people, for yourself, if you've had mental health issues or breakdowns? Is it the industry or is it just life in general? um you know and I'll say this, a lot of fans don't understand, it is a very stressful job, like
Mhm.
extremely stressful, because one, you have to deal with drunk people, mostly drunk men. Two, a lot of people don't understand boundaries. They think that they can do things and get away with things that they just shouldn't be trying. And three, it can be tough because people can call you names that you shouldn't be called on a regular basis. People can be sitting at your table and, hey, slut, hey, ho, hey, this, hey, that, when that might not be your true self. And guess what? Some of the girls, some of the talent, even guys, male dancers, male bartenders, they enjoy that. They revel in that. So if I'm a fan and I go in and I say these things to someone and they enjoy it, guess what I'm going to think for next time? Oh, this is this is how it's supposed to go, when it's
Right.
not supposed to go that way. So it do you feel like, you know, you've been beat down with the comments that people make about you or to you while they're in your face at your venues, or do you get any online harassment that really pulls you down? Kind of talk to us about that journey.
So me personally, I've dealt with mental health, just my personal mental health since I was 11. That's when I got diagnosed. Um, so this is like something that I've had my whole life to kind of go back and forth with and learn how to cope with. So I feel grateful to say that I've had like all those years before I was in the industry to try and like get to know, what triggers me and what I can and can't handle. Um Honestly, what people say online to me though, like really just doesn't fucking matter to me. I remember being in high school and like the thing when I was in high school was this thing called Ask FM, and people could ask you like anonymous questions, and
Mm,
people used to tear me up on Ask FM, just saying like the meanest shit to me, just like calling me a slut, calling me a hoe. Like I did drugs pretty early on in high school. People, oh, druggy, she's a junkie this, junkie that. But I'm like 15 at the time. So whenever that shit was happening to me, that was like the end of the world in my 15-year-old brain.
mhm.
So now whenever I see shit like that on the internet, I'm just like, okay, like this person is hiding behind a screen. Like I could really give a fuck, especially on OnlyFans, which I've dealt with very like minimal of, but it's like you paid me to harass me right now. So that in itself should just be like, I
Yeah,
don't even care. Um,
yeah.
but I did have one thing that happened to me when I worked at Ojos when I was young that kind of like traumatized me. Um, because my table was intoxicated, and that's really the only thing that like honestly grinds me about like this industry. Um,
Mhm,
excuse me, is that well, it's touchy because like where I work at right now, like at knockouts, they can be very like nya 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 about like, did you overserve them? Did you overserve them? And we all have accidentally overserved someone in our lives, but
not
you
purposely.
have
Yeah.
to remember that you don't know where these people came from. You don't know how many bars they went to beforehand. You don't know if they're on drugs. Like you don't know what is currently in their system that's making them act that way, or if they're just a fucking dick. So I had this one instance one time when I worked at Ojos, and my table was obviously drunk, and this was when I went to greet them. So this is the initial like altercation that I had
Mhm,
with them. And the guy at the table asked me if I was trans and when I got my genitals removed, and proceeded to try to kick me in between my legs. And all I could think about in that moment was like, what if I was? Like,
mhm.
and that's just so telling about what type of person they are, because like that would just be so horrible. Like if their server was a trans woman, like how terrible and demeaning and derogatory would that feel? Like that is something that I could never relate to. But oh my god, like I just my heart like kind of broke in that moment. Like not even for me really, but like for that person
Yeah,
and for how that could have affected somebody else.
yeah,
But
yeah. And
honestly, I
again, it's like
go ahead.
people just feel like they have a license to do and say whatever they please in these places. And, I just feel like interactions
Mhm.
would go so much better if there was just respect on both ends. Now I know some talent that are assholes, bitch, just assholes, like proud to be a
Too.
bitch, proud to be difficult, and they still make money. But it might lend itself to create a culture of expectations for me as a fan, for you as a talent. Like either I can be this way at work, or I can talk to them however I want to because they're going to talk like that back to me.
Right.
So I think there's education to be done on both sides, mostly our side. But there's always a way to make a situation better, and it sucks that you have to go through that. And I hope your management dealt with that table
Oh
or
yeah,
that
she did. She
that
was
person
dope. I honestly can't
carefully.
remember her name, but I remember I was like, because I was a mess. I was just like disassociating because I was so shocked that it happened. But she was really cool. She
Wow.
did.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lana. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight into the industry, whether it's restaurant, strip club, nightclub, whatever. Seems like you've done it all, and you've got great stuff in your future. Guys and ladies, remember top 3.9% on OnlyFans, Dream Girl Desi. is the screen name, and I'm pretty sure that she's going to get off of this call and start shooting content for OnlyFans now. But again, thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you so much for having me, Rich. I really appreciate it. It was so fun.
All right. Well, the next time I see you, it's going to be on the Las Vegas Strip, and we're going to party it up. Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.